Andrew once knew the quiet strength of a life rebuilt. For 10 long years he had pushed away the darkness of addiction. He had found a path, a steady rhythm. Each day was a victory, a testament to his will. He woke up clean. He went to bed clean. This was his achievement, a decade of clear skies after a terrible storm. He had built a home, not just with walls and a roof, but with love and routine. It was a place where laughter could echo, where peace could settle like dust in the afternoon sun. He believed he had conquered his demons for good. His greatest joy, the true sun in his new sky, were his children. Their small hands, their bright eyes, their innocent questions, these were the anchors of his world. He created a sanctuary for them, a place of stability and warmth. He read them stories. He tucked them into bed. He watched them grow, each milestone a precious gift. The home he built was for them, a fortress against the harshness he himself had once known. He found purpose in their smiles, a reason to keep fighting, to keep building, to keep being the father they deserved. His life, once a tangled mess, now had a beautiful, simple order. Then a shadow fell. It came in the form of betrayal, sharp and unexpected. His ex-wife, a person he had once shared dreams with, began to weave a web of lies. These were not small untruths, but corrosive falsehoods designed to dismantle his world. The accusations were baseless, yet they carried weight in places where truth should have mattered more. Andrew watched, helpless, as the life he had so carefully constructed began to tremble. The foundations he thought were so strong started to crack under the pressure of deceit. It was a cruel twist, a painful reminder that some storms arrive without warning. The lies took their toll. The system, meant to protect, was swayed by the carefully crafted narrative. And just like that, his children were gone, not lost to an accident or to illness, but taken from him by words, by untruths. The home he built for them suddenly felt empty, silent. The laughter was replaced by an aching void. The purpose he found in their presence vanished, leaving him adrift. 10 years of sobriety, 10 years of careful construction felt like it had been swept away in an instant. The pain was unimaginable, a gaping wound in his soul. The loss of his children was a blow from which Andrew could not easily recover. It was more than just sadness. It was a profound emptiness, a hollowing out of his very being. The home that once echoed with joy now amplified his sorrow. Every toy left behind, every crayon mark on a wall, became a painful reminder of what was stolen. He walked through the rooms like a ghost, haunted by memories. The stability he had worked so hard to achieve crumbled, and the world turned grey. The fight seemed to have gone out of him, replaced by a crushing weight of despair. His heart, once full of love and hope, was now heavy with grief. In this desolate landscape of his mind, the old enemy whispered. Drugs, the escape he had renounced for a decade, began to seem like a refuge. The pain was too much to bear with a clear head. He needed something to numb the agony, to silence the relentless thoughts of his lost children. So he relapsed. It wasn't a conscious decision to throw away his progress, but a desperate grab for oblivion. The familiar darkness beckoned, promising a temporary reprieve from the unbearable reality. He sought to erase the present, to forget the betrayal and the emptiness. His descent was swift. The drugs offered no real solace, only a deeper entanglement in despair. He hit rock bottom, a place darker and more terrifying than he had ever known. The man who had proudly stood drug-free for 10 years was gone, replaced by a shadow of his former self. Isolation became his companion. Friends and family who had celebrated his recovery now watched with concern, then with sorrow as he slipped further away. The vibrant life he had built was now a ruin, and he was lost within its wreckage, consumed by his sorrow and the chemicals he used to try and forget. He found himself in a seaside lodge, a place at the edge of the world as desolate as his own heart. The sound of the waves crashing against the shore was a constant, mournful dirge. Here, surrounded by the vast, indifferent ocean, his loneliness was complete. The lodge was old, weathered by storms, much like Andrew himself. He spent his days in a haze, the drugs blurring the edges of his pain, but never truly erasing it. Hope was a distant memory, a flickering ember about to be extinguished by the relentless tide of his anguish. He felt utterly alone, forgotten by the world. It was on one of these nights, a night like any other in its bleakness, that something changed. The darkness in his room at the seaside lodge felt heavier than usual, pressing in on him. He was at his lowest point, the absolute pit of his despair. The drugs had worn off enough for the raw pain to surface, sharp and unrelenting. He felt a sense of finality, as if this was all that was left for him, an endless cycle of sorrow and self-destruction. There was no fight left, only a weary resignation. He closed his eyes, not expecting to see another dawn with any sense of hope. Suddenly, a light pierced the oppressive gloom. It wasn't the gentle light of morning, nor the harsh glare of a lamp. This was a brilliant, pure light, unlike anything he had ever witnessed. It filled the room, casting out all shadows, yet it was not blinding. It was warm, inviting, and radiated an overwhelming sense of peace. Andrew, startled, opened his eyes fully. He was not dreaming. The light was real, a tangible presence in his desolate room. It seemed to hum with an ancient, loving energy. And then, within the heart of this extraordinary light, he saw a figure. It was Jesus Christ. Not a distant, ethereal image, but a clear, compassionate presence. Jesus looked at him, not with judgment, but with an infinite understanding and love. He spoke to Andrew, his voice not in words that ears could hear, but in a way that resonated deep within his soul. He offered hope. He spoke of a future. He gave Andrew a mission to protect his children, to love them, to never give up on them. It was a message of profound grace, a lifeline thrown into the deepest ocean of despair. The encounter was transformative, instantaneous. As quickly as the light had appeared, it receded, but it left an indelible mark on Andrew's spirit. The crushing weight of despair lifted. The fog of addiction began to clear. In its place, a new feeling emerged, a spark of hope, a sense of purpose. He wasn't alone. He had been seen, understood, and given a reason to live, a reason to fight. The encounter by the sea was not an end, but a new beginning, a divine intervention that pulled him back from the very brink. The morning after the miraculous encounter, Andrew woke with a clarity he hadn't felt in years. The pull of drugs, which had been an irresistible force, was now a distant echo. The words of Jesus, the feeling of that divine presence, resonated stronger than any craving. He knew what he had to do. He had to get clean, not just for himself, but for his children. This time his sobriety wasn't just about willpower. It was fueled by a profound spiritual awakening, a divine mandate. He left the seaside lodge a changed man, leaving behind the despair and the substances that had held him captive. Life began to mend, slowly at first, then with gathering momentum. He embraced recovery with a new vigour, supported by the memory of that sacred light. And in this journey of healing he found new love, someone who saw the good in him, who understood his past struggles and believed in his renewed future. This new relationship brought warmth and companionship, helping to rebuild the parts of his life that had been shattered. His home once again began to fill with light, not just from the sun, but from the hope and love that now resided within him. His mission, given to him in that moment of grace, became his driving force, his children. He began the arduous fight to bring them back into his life, to protect them as he had been instructed. The legal battles were daunting, the emotional toll immense, but Andrew was no longer fighting alone. He walked in God's light, armed with faith and an unshakable resolve. He knew the path would be difficult, fraught with obstacles, but the promise he made in the presence of that divine light was sacred. He would not falter in his quest to be their father again. Andrew now shares his story, a testament to the power of divine intervention and the possibility of redemption. He speaks of the darkness he endured, but more importantly, of the light he found. His life is a message of hope for others who may be lost in their own despair. He continues to walk in faith, striving to live a life worthy of the second chance he was given. And every day he fights for his children, his love for them a beacon, guided by the miraculous encounter that turned his despair into a profound and enduring purpose.